For past 17 years, running this company called Networkers Home, the most asked question I have is, what is the scope in doing networking courses? Or what is the scope of doing networking courses? Today, through this video, I will try to transfer all the knowledge that I have gained on last 17 years of being CCI in routing and switching and CCI in security, and also producing thousands of CCIs, also placing thousands of students, or the highest number of students in this country in networking roles. So through this video, we will explore different type of roles, what kind of companies hire, what kind of different specializations are there, etc., etc. So this video can be called an introduction to different career paths in networking. When we start networking careers, right, there are certain roles or certain professional obligations that you have when you start the career. So the first role that comes into play is network associate. That's the reason the Cisco certified network associate, CCNA, is the most basic certification, or you call it network technician also. They do have CCNT, right, which is network technician. But I generally, from my background, because when we did it 18 years back or 20 years back, this certification, CCNA was the basic one. There was no CCENT. And CCNA also is still the market standard for networking start of the networking career. Generally, it's a 30 days program that we teach here, but it's a 40 hours course. And it is still a very powerful program. And once you go through the whole video, you will realize it, why and how these Cisco certifications are still so valuable, etc. So the first role that we are talking about, there are two roles that we can say, or three roles we can say, that either you will get a network technician role when you get a job, when you start your career, or you will work as an associate level, or you are going to get working as a network administrator role. So these are the three roles: network technician, network associate, and network administrator. Three roles, essentially. What do you do in these roles is basically setting up and maintaining network infrastructure, troubleshooting basic issues, configuring the devices, etc. Right? And if you're on the network administrator side, you will probably be also doing some network management related options, creating user accounts, maybe some Windows management also, or a little bit of cloud computing as well these days, because every organization has a little bit of cloud component as well, right? So those are the kind of responsibilities. So this is the basic level generally that starts with. In India, there is another role that you generally get with which is technical support options, right? Because India is a massive technical support country. You see Infosys, TCS, right, Accenture, they get 30 to 40% business from technical support. And these are not small companies. They are companies which have 30,000 crore, 40,000 crore rupees kind of net profit coming from these technical support operations, right? These companies, if you take 30% of that, right, that's basically 10,000 crore rupees coming from net profit. I'm not talking about revenue. If you talk about revenue, you will realize it that we will do at the end of it, that how many lakhs of engineers are required every year for these companies alone, these top 5 IT companies alone, to run their operations, and the kind of profit they are making and the kind of revenue they are making. To run those operations itself, they require millions and millions of people, essentially into different domains. Or you can say lakhs if we not say millions. So entry-level networking roles is 3 or 4 roles that we talked about. Then a little experienced candidates, the roles are going to change, which I will call it mid-level networking roles, right? Where you have network engineer, or you are a network security specialist, or you are a cloud networking specialist, or you are a wireless networking specialist. So these are mid-level, which means a level above the entry level, where you are now specialized into something. You can do a little higher level of task, which is you can manage LANs and WANs and VPNs, etc. If you are on the security role, you can manage network against cyber. You can manage firewalls, you can manage intrusion prevention systems, you can play with different kind of security settings and all that for your company. If you are into wireless, you will be building large scale wireless. Let's look at all the 5-star hotels and all the large corporations, they have a massive wireless, right? If you have stayed in a 5-star property or a 4-star property, every room will have very high speed internet connection, right? And that will be connected to the room name and the room password or something like that. So all those operations, so these people need to have that expertise. These days, mid-level, you have cloud networking specialist as well, right? Where you are exclusively managing cloud or maybe partially managing cloud, right? You're a network engineer, your company has cloud, has moved some servers to cloud or has some cloud portion to it, right? Let's say you are a US-based company and you have started your operations in India. Now, of course, you are not going to set up a full-scale network because India is just a location for you, right? And your main business happens in US. So what you will do is you'll pick up a couple of servers and with some cloud provider and you will start working on it. Now, those kind of things are huge, right? Because lakhs of companies are from around the world are doing businesses like these days. So that's again one area which is in demand. And then you have network automation and DevOps specialists. That is also for large companies, for large telcos, and different type of environments. These days, you have automation specialist. You have to write simple Python scripts, and the scripts are already ready-made. Also, so this is not a programming domain as such, but a little bit knowledge of Python scripting and all that is required, which is very basic. Even if 7th class or 8th class standard kid can also do. So those kind of stuff. So mid-level, when we are talking about, let's summarize that we are talking about network engineer, network security engineer, wireless, cloud computing, DevOps and network automation kind of people, right? DevOps goes more on the development side, and network automation goes on the NetOps side, which is automating the network side. So these are two, different profiles. So associate level, the basic and the mid-level. Then you have specialized roles. Specialized roles like network architects, people who design networks, right? If you go to Cisco Systems and all the big companies, whether IBM or Accenture, what do? The TCS and Infosys, right? These companies build network for large corporations, banks, financial institutions. A bank has, let's say, 40,000 ATMs, ATM branches and all that, or different type of capabilities, and maybe the bank has gone online and millions of people are accessing their services, etc., and the servers are located at different locations and all that. So you require network architects who have a very high understanding of high level networks, right? And they will design, they will choose what kind of equipment is required. If it's a data center, they probably will require an Access series or ACI series of products. If you're building enterprise networks, if you're building high speed, you may require Cat 6800 switches, right? So depending on the network design and all that, and these are the people who are very highly paid. The reason for that is these are the people who are dealing with networks ranging from 1 crore rupees to 1,000 crore rupees networks also, right? If you look at some of the biggest banks and the biggest financial institutions in the world, you will find them spending thousands of crore rupees on networking equipment and building the networks and all that, right? Because they can't move to cloud because of security reason. The data they have is very precious, right? In fact, the data is money for them, right? Whatever you transact is actually is getting transacted as data, but eventually if you look at it, it's money, nothing else, right? Now, on the top of it, let's say you are a network architect, you are working for Cisco or IBM or Accenture or TCS or some other company. On the other side, you are going to get a network manager or a director of the company, or maybe chief information officer or CTO, chief technology officer, right? So you have to work with them, understand what are the requirements of their network. Then because you are working for those companies, consulting companies, right? You will be responsible for designing a network and you will take their approvals. And that's how the project works. So both the components, from the company side, network architect, and the other side, the organization side, is network managers, which are required basically. So these are the roles in the specialized networking roles. Then you have industry specific roles, which are if you're working for telcos. Telcos have a requirement these days. If you look at the telcos are no telcos anymore. Because you are making less phone calls and playing more with the data. So internet is more and the telco feature is less. But these days you require people who have expertise in both sides, right? So those are also different type of networking roles. And then financial companies, a lot of people prefer, if I'm a big bank, I will prefer to hire people who have experience into financial business, right? Because financial businesses require a very different level of high security, compliance and all that, because they are actually playing with the money itself, right? Like look at stock exchanges or banks or mutual fund companies and all the, asset management companies and all that. For them, every single click is money, right? One single click on a exchange, you can buy 1,000 crore rupees of shares. And if somebody plays with that, you are into trouble. So industry specific roles. So these are 5 type of things that we discuss: entry level, mid level, specialized roles, industry specific roles, and advanced networking roles, right? So what kind of different opportunities, or what are the different names generally that you see in the industry for these roles, right? So you will see, as we discuss about network technician or associate, if the company is also dealing with the servers and all that, you will see network administrator, network engineer, senior network engineer, network architect, right? Network manager. Or if you are on the specialized role, you would be network security engineer. You will be a consultant, then network consultant, right? And different companies name them differently, but this is how the hierarchy is. And then the chief CTO, chief information officer, or chief technology officer, CTO, these are the people who get paid in crores and all that. So we are clear about the roles as of now. Now let's talk about what kind of specialization do you have. In networking, there are huge number of specialization. It is almost like the medical profession, right? Where you have MBBS doctors, and then when you go to MD, the MDs are ENT specialists, and then you have cancer specialist. In cancer, there are 15 categories of doctors, right? So there are different type of engineers, or network engineers are also there in this profession. So let's go through that also. So network security specialist, the engineers who are focusing on firewalls and IPS and access controls and encryption and VPNs and all those things, right? Which is our core area. Networkers Home is one of the best institution in the world, which has been focusing for last 17 or 18 years. We have been teaching CCI security, from the day one. And partially or mostly because of the reason I was working for Cisco TAC in the security team itself. So because of that, of my background, I started this company, and then now the whole company is specialized into that domain itself. So the next thing that we talk about is wireless networking specialist, people who are specialized in wireless. Then you have cloud networking specialist, you have voice or IP specialist, network automation and DevOps specialist, network performance specialist, right? A lot of people are there in the audit business, right? You have to audit also. The networks are doing fine or not, you have implemented. So there are a lot of third-party companies where they will have network performance specialist, network security specialist, and they will come and audit your network also. So that is also one of the domains. Data center networking specialist, big time. Private cloud is a big thing, right? Public cloud is big, AWS, Google, and all these companies, but private cloud is even bigger, right? Because all the large companies, all the large banks, all the large financial institutions, all the large hospital chains, they cannot, by government compliance itself, they can't put their data on the internet itself. So they need to have a private network where they will have their servers, high-end switches, high-end routers, and all these things. Then you have IoT, which is picking up big time, right? And cybersecurity specialist or cybersecurity analyst, etc. So now we are clear about the different type of specialization. Let's look at what kind of companies hire these engineers. If you look at Networkers Home website and go through the YouTube channel of Networkers Home, you will realize it for last 17 years, right? We have been producing engineers and placing them into companies. If you look at last video itself, if I go to YouTube and, you see the last person, just now 2 days back that I posted or we have posted is engineer or student who is actually BA pass from IGNOU Open University, right, from Delhi. and this guy is got placed at 5.5 lakh rupees package starting, right? Uh, in a great company. So if you look at from that angle, right, how big the opportunities people are getting with BA qualification, and that too from open university, right? IGNO. So that's a power of a lot of people are not even aware of the what kind of opportunity it is, but because we are there in the business for a long time, we have a particular understanding. As the same time, we have now the placement tie-ups with over 200 companies where we have a regular placement hiring happening at our premises. So what kind of companies hire these engineers? One is the companies which make the networking gear, like Cisco Systems, Juniper Networks, Hawaii, Palo Alto Networks, Checkpoint Firewall, right, Zscaler, and thousands of companies. And these are billion-dollar companies, by the way. Palo Alto is a $25 billion valuation company. Hawaii is a 100 billion player, right? Juniper is huge. Cisco is the hugest, right? Is the biggest one. So if you talk about this, the whole ecosystem of companies, right? Zscaler is a Nasdaq listed company. These are not small companies. F5 is not a small company. These are large corporations specialized into certain domains. Like F5 is a load balancer company, right? Juniper is a high performance telecom gear company. Palo Alto is a firewall and the network security company. Hawaii and Cisco are again into telecoms and a lot of other stuff as well, right? Enterprise networking as well. So these companies, of course, because they are selling equipment, right? Hundreds of billions of dollars worth of equipment is being sold. Technology is being sold. Knowledge is being sold. So they require lakhs of engineers to support their own equipment. Also, these companies hire or have engineers who will design the networks, implement the networks, and do a lot of other activities as well, right? So they will have manager, they will have sales executive, they will have pre-sales executive, they will have technical support engineers to once you sell the equipment to somebody, of course you need to have a technical support because you are giving warranty on your equipment and all that. And that's where you look at companies like Cisco in India, right? They are huge because their biggest technical supports are based in India and Asia. Then you have telecom providers, whether you talk about Jio or Airtel or, 1,000 or more companies or ISPs. So you require, those guys will also hire. ISPs are going to hire almost all companies. If you look at financial institutions, right, the banks running ATM networks, they have millions of people doing transaction on their network. So they need to have at every branch network engineers, right, to take care of any kind of emergency. Because if a basic failure happens in the branch, right, you go to HDFC branch, how are they connected to their servers? They have networks. What if in one day, one of the branch, let's say in your area, one of the branch, the internet doesn't work? Thousands of people are going to cry, right? And lakhs of rupees or crores of rupees transaction of that day, the productivity of employees, 40, 50, 30, 40 people sitting in that particular branch, and thousands of customers will be impacted. So all these people, because they are using IT infrastructure to run their operations, they require network engineers, whether they are sitting locally or remotely. That's a different topic altogether, right? So a lot of companies are sitting at different locations. So government agencies, of course, from Department of Defense to railway networks to everything else runs today on internet, right? So they, for their own communication and all that, educational institution, online learning is big thing, the platform building, providing, IT services to students. Thousands of students in big universities are connected to internet for doing their projects. Their hostels are connected and all those things. All the retail companies, if you look at companies like Reliance Retail and, other branches out there, you will see all of them have scanner-based billing systems now. So they need to be connected all the time to their head office through the networks so that all the information can be fetched from the servers and can also be sent that this is the amount of this is the amount of retail stuff that has been sold, etc. Then you have manufacturing companies. A lot of all the manufacturing companies, all the large corporations will require for their manufacturing to work properly, right? So these days you have all the work happening on robotic things. So one thing depends on other for the communication. So if you look at all the all the large companies, right? Toyota or Maruti, and all the these companies, they will basically require these engineers. Then the biggest thing in India, right? The biggest opportunity is consulting and managed service providers. Who are those? Companies like Infosys, right? Few lakh employees, TCS, few lakh employees, Mindtree, Accenture, Deloitte, IBM, right? And 10,000 more. When I say 10,000 more, I have already excluded Cisco, Juniper, and all these companies. I'm actually talking about the service providers. And these are not small time service providers. You look at it, as I said, 30 to 40% or 20 to 30% comes from the IT infrastructure management services, right? So if we look at what is the profit, just do a Google search to see what is the profit of Infosys or TCS. TCS, you will find somewhere like 40,000 crores. So basically you're not talking about revenue, right? So these people require lakhs of engineers every year into different domains to run their consulting operations. And if they hire a junior engineer, he becomes a senior engineer, he becomes a network consultant, he becomes an architect, right? So they will keep on having the hierarchical approach, and they will always require people at the bottom of the pyramid. So these are the things that I wanted to basically discuss. What you have to do is you have to I'm not including the financial aspect of it right now, because once you do a search on how big is the TCS and how big is the Infosys and all that, and what is their revenue services come from infrastructure management services, that's a time you will actually have a very good understanding of what I'm saying. You will have a number, okay, that many lakhs of engineers are required. And then we can talk about the next topic, which I want to discuss about, and which is a very controversial topic as well, because you will see when we talk about the scope and the salaries, you will see a huge disparity, right, in salaries and the scope for different people. Now, a lot of guys, you will find that somebody with 5-year experience is getting 25 lakh rupees package, and somebody with 10-year experience is getting 15 lakh rupees package, right? Why is that? So there are a lot of factors. Because of that, these kind of things happen. One of the major factor that I will talk about is the approach, the difference between both the guys. So maybe the guy with less experience has more certifications, right? That takes us to the point that how much money are you investing and how much time are you investing? The good thing about Cisco is, or the good thing about networking industry is, that you have a 12th class kind of thing like CCNA, you have a bachelor's degree like CCNP, or you have a master's like CCIE, and then you have CCDE, and you have a CCA. You can go all the way up to 1 crore rupees, from 10 lakh rupees to 1 crore rupees, depending on how much efforts you put and what kind of certification do you achieve. So skill development is a constant process. You will have to acquire new skills every 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. This is what is basically to keep on attaining more success, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is educational qualifications. They do matter. Somebody with the BTech is going to be a little higher always, and somebody with the BA is always going to be little lower. But if your communication skills are great, even if you're a BA or BCom and you can speak good English and you have good communication skill, you still have great opportunity in this particular thing. Another thing is, a lot of people who do not like programming, those are the people who actually want to get into it. So this is a perfect alternate for people who don't like programming skills and all that. So that is also a good option. Market conditions sometime, right? Like right now, if we talk about for cloud and DevOps and all these skills, right? There is a downturn because startups were the one who were using low value stuff like cloud and all that, right? But networking has not been that much impacted. If you look at the overall picture of it, right? I don't want to give you this example, but I have to say this, that put the whole startup ecosystem of this whole country, India, right? The whole ecosystem or the whole startup, let's say pick 100 startups, top 100 startups or top 1,000 startups in India, put them together, right? Put them all together and look at their profit, that will not be even half of just the TCS. You will be surprised to see 90% of the startups are in loss. None of them has made 1,000 crore rupees profit except Zerodha and one or two more companies which are now no more startups, right? They are essentially 10 years, but I'm still including them. Put them all together. Combine them all together, they still will not be half of TCS or half of Infosys profit. So what happens is that people have a craze for new technologies, the quick stuff and all that, but they do not look at the larger picture. When you correlate the data, that's the time you see the truth, right? The truth is that the much more established factors, what is the biggest truth in India? The biggest truth in India is Reliance is still the largest profitable company. They have a profit of 70,000 crore rupees just from petrochemicals. They are the most profitable company in India. That's the truth of it. They are double profitable than TCS. They are 4 times more profitable than Infosys. Just petrochemical business. What is the largest company in India? Reliance. Right? What is the most profitable company in India? Reliance. What do they do? Are they into technology? No. Right? So when we look at all those things and when we try to correlate to the fact that you realize it, that this is the truth, right? So networking industry has always been the core factor for all the industries, because you require basic internet. Whether you are a big company or a bank, you are whatever it is, right? You require internet access. And if you have internet access, you need to have a secure internet access. Otherwise, what will happen? It's a very dangerous thing. Having an open internet in an organization where somebody can come and steal your information is a bad idea, right? So you require network security engineers. What about performance? You require load balance engineers, right? F5 and all that. What about your data center? You need to set up data centers. You can't go to cloud because you have obligation. One is the government doesn't allow you, right? The second is you have a lot of, financial, you are a bank, you have people's money. So you have to secure it no matter what happens. And the money is not small money. We are talking about 2 lakh crore and 10 lakh crore and 20 lakh crore kind of businesses. If you look at the revenue of HDFC, right, or ICICI Bank, they are playing with 10 lakh and 15 lakh crore kind of businesses. So will they go to a cheap cloud service and put their 10 lakh crore rupees, stuff into risk? So when we look at all these things, you will realize it that these are the different opportunities. A lot of people, you will also see networking, we get a lot of inquiries on that also. Sir, I'm there in the industry for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, and my career is not moving. Right? So we are there in the industry for a very long time. People get stagnant. Their skills are obsolete. They have not updated their skills, right? Because of English, because of communication skill, because of not having a competitive skill, because of not updating their self on time, because some people don't, so there are a lot of reasons basically. But you will also find people who are, getting 15, 20 lakh rupees minimum salary, and you will see people getting 70 lakh rupees also, with the same 10-year experience. What is that? The 10-year experience, what certification did you collect? Luckily, you are in an industry where certifications are there. What if you are in an industry where there are no certifications? Like programmers, right? You have just skills. There are no certifications. There are not too many, right? There are some, but there are not too many. You have to go to contests and competitions, and there you have to prove yourself. But here you have certifications. You can go all the way to CCIE, which is 25 lakh rupees to 50 lakh rupees bracket. If you go to CCD, it's even more. And look at it. What is the cost? CCNA, the whole training program is 10,000 rupees. I have people coming here, right, which have spent 4 years and 5 years of their life in preparing for government exams. They did not get through the government exams. Right? And those guys are today working at 10, 15 lakh rupees, and we got them a break. The other thing is, there is a beautiful thing about networking that I always say. One is that no college teaches the BSc networking or BTech networking and all these skills. Because of that, private institution like us have an opportunity. Imagine tomorrow BSc networking comes or BTech networking comes and, all those things. So this domain somehow, was left out and a lot of awareness is not there. People don't have a lot of awareness. Awareness is something which, is very important for building a perception about a career. So let's say if you have brother who's a cancer specialist, who is a MD from some top university in America and all that, and he comes back to India, he's working for one of the biggest hospitals and he's getting 10 lakh rupees a month salary and all that, right? Now that's a time, if you are the younger brother, you will see the opportunity because now you know how much is an MD, an oncologist, right, can actually make because you have some exposure. Or you are a son of a politician, you have seen your father, right? What kind of respect, money, this and that happens. So what happens is you get an exposure. And once you get an exposure, your chances of going to that domain are much more higher. So, in business families, what happens is these skills are transported from one generation to another generation. In salaried class, what happens is there is no information which is passed. I was working for maybe the government office. You work for a private company. The child is going to start his learning from zero, right? But if you look at the factory owners, the information is passed on from one generation to the next generation to next generation. So this is what I wanted to actually talk about in today's video. Hope this video has been useful to you. And if you have any question or comment, please try to write it in the comment section and I will try to answer that. Thank you guys. You have a great day.